Hey, welcome everybody. It's time once again for another episode of Health Talks with Dr. Trinh. The one show, maybe the only show, showing you a path to a healthier life and the most cutting-edge devices to get there, like the ones we're going to showcase today. Dr. Trinh, bring us in. Tell us what we're doing.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And glad to have back our good friend Penny Foskaris of Foskaris Wellness Center. And she's been on probably a few times already, as far as I remember, where we talked about the services, great work she's doing at her center with red light therapy. And so Penny's got some updates for us today on what's new, what's available, and different indications and things you can use at home. So I'm excited to hear all about it. Welcome, Penny.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here again. And I'm very excited because I do a lot of therapies for weight loss and pain, rejuvenation in the office. And not everybody can get into the office. And so I've been working really hard to create at-home use devices that actually work, because there's a lot of them different out there that they might not have enough power, not enough light, so too far apart. So, and actually, we've been creating devices for offices already with the red light sculpting devices, and now expanding what we've been doing with manufacturing those to home use. What's exciting is even with our red light domes we have is, I'm actually going to show you right here what this is. Let me turn it on, because it's not only for skin time. We've showed this dome before, and I was going to talk about it, but just, we put over, actually there's lots of things we can do it over the face, over the head. But what I love about it is that, like, even 2020, she was at the end of 2020, she was at her mom's house, she tripped, fell through a wood fence and almost lost her eye. And so she was trying to do some red light therapy at home to try to recover faster. And it just wasn't working. Dr. Trin's like, go in to see Penny. And so, we have the domes, which now we have the plugs that are perfect for home, same dome. I'm going to try to show you these pictures, but this is in 3 weeks what a difference of recovery. And this is what happened with Lisa. She had stitches in her eyes and she had gouges on her face. And that was December 9th. This was on December 14th. She got a little better. And then on the 1st of January, 3 weeks later, she's pretty much almost completely healed. And she has no scarring right now. And Dr. Trinh can tell you about that too, because I know that she had referred her to come in and get the therapies, and it really helped her recover so quickly.
So before we go too much further, remind us all about red light therapy. What is it?
So it regenerates every single cell in the body. It works the mitochondria and increases ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is like the energy of the cell. And so it allows the body to heal itself. And that's really what it does. It can open up fat cells if we're doing fat.
You're cutting in and out. You're freezing still sometimes on your audio.
Hold on. Let me increase bandwidth by going off my video.
Okay.
That should be better. There you go.
Okay, if not, I'll switch to the phone. We'll try that. So with the same domes, we had, even with my sister, she had a stroke 3.5 years ago, and she wasn't fully recovered, and her speech was her jaw was kind of tight, and she would say her numbers, and they'd be like 1, 2, 3. And I saw a webinar on Alzheimer's and light therapy and what it does, and I thought, why am I not putting this dome over my sister's skull? And truly, in about 10 days, we did 4 sessions, and she improved maybe about 60%.
You have a wellness center in, where is it, Anaheim Hills?
Anaheim Hills, yes.
And for years, you've been experimenting with different ways to do weight loss and feel better and all these different techniques. And one of those you've been using for a long time, is this idea of treating people with some sort of red light therapy. How do you find these devices? Are you developing these yourself, or are you researching them and trying them and then moving on? Because do they all work? Does every red light therapy device work, or does some work better than others?
Definitely some work better than others. They're not all the same. I started with a device, and then I just started researching where I can, make them better. Okay. And so now we've been manufacturing for facilities, wellness centers, a device, the whole shebang with the face dome and like 6 pads. And I kept having all my clients coming in saying, hey, how does this work? Hey, I saw this on Amazon. How does this work? And I'm like,
right.
I don't know unless I do it and research it and use it and try it. So I decided to start creating in-home devices so that way people aren't wasting their money and trying to get the therapies that they want, but really not get the results.
So in doing that, have you found there's a wide range? I mean, does everybody who advertises red light therapy have the same efficacy? Does everybody have the same results? Or is
No.
there some... Explain to us the part of the red light therapy you've had to understand. Is it just turning this red light, this color spectrum on, and however you do it, it works? Or do you have to do it a certain way?
No, the thing is it depends on what light nanometers. So we have, like for us, we have the 650 nanometer. It can be in the 600 range or the 800 range. It depends on the higher the number, the deeper it goes. Once it goes past 1,000, it actually goes the other way. So there's no use for that when we're doing just therapy unless it's a laser powered by even more strength. Okay. But for either in the office or at home uses, it depends on how close the lights are together and how many lights are on the system. So with ours, every of the diodes, each diode, which is the houses the lights, there's 3 lights. And so a lot of times there's just like one light in each diode, and they're so far apart that it really can't do much for the body, whether it's for pain, because you have injuries, or, with fat loss too, there's people bring this stuff in, and I'm like, it's not going to work. There's no power. You can feel the tissue's not getting warm. And so the nice thing is I just started playing pickleball recently, and I was like seeing people limping around, and they've got all kinds of injuries because there are a lot of people who are in their 50s and 60s are like, hey, I want to get active again. I used to play tennis, or my friends are playing pickleball. Let's do this. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm in pain, right? And so they're walking around and they just have something, a band or something, to help alleviate the pain, but it's actually not helping it repair. And so with the red light therapy, with the near infrared, which penetrates deeper into the body, it can start repairing. And so like we created, knee devices, right? So you can sit there, and we also have a battery that you can get with it. So that way you can be doing the therapies while you're actually there when you just got hurt, and I do that. I actually put them on before on the way to that I'm going to play to warm my knees too.
So when I recall when you were on before, you were using this mostly for weight loss therapy, something to do with fat cells, that you were somehow liquefying the fat, it seemed like, or whatever.
It does that. These can still do it. We do have pads that can go around the abdomen to do that. Still opens up fat cells, but to release fat, there's protocols that come afterwards with nutrition, and that's where it gets more intricate, kind of not really complicated, but there's a process. If it's just pain or skin tightening, you just basically do it. You can do 20 minutes a day. It doesn't hurt your body. It actually, again, repairs every single cell. It helps like the body produce collagen. So that's how the skin gets repaired. So we have, our dome for skin tightening. Just put it over it. Let's turn it on, because I'm not sure if everybody got to see it earlier.
You got you didn't have any of these things last time, I don't think. You didn't have
No, the face one we did, but it wasn't. We actually had the face one was the only one that was created so far, because that was where I had mostly asked for. So we were going to do the face. We could do that. And that's how we were, with helping with Lisa when she had the injuries. I'm not sure, did we show the pictures before after we stabilized the Wi-Fi?
We saw the pictures. Yeah, we could see you were doing it for injury recovery. So how did you, just walk us through again, I know you talked about this before, you're doing wellness. What led you to red light therapy, which is really ultraviolet light? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, you tell you what led me to it was, I was doing nutritional consulting, and
which was nutrition and other sorts of you were measuring body fat and all sorts of other things here.
I was doing all that, and I hadn't really discovered red light yet. This is about 4.5 years ago. And my friend, Dr. Carney, had bought a device for his office. And I said, Dr. Carney, red light doesn't work. I did this other one. And he's like, well, that's what I hear. And I put it on my body, and I saw a difference from the first time. And that's where I was like, well, maybe there's something here. And then so I was doing for fat loss, and people were like, you know what? God, my elbow feels better now, right? Or, hey, can you put an extra pad on my knee? Let's try that. And we started seeing a difference. Like I had a client who came in 2 years ago, and he had torn his Achilles tendon playing pickleball. Okay. And he had gone to the VA, and he had to surgically put it back together. And he came in about 6 times and did red light therapy. And when he went back for his follow-up, the surgeon, when he did the scan, said, I can't even see where the tear was, right? And he actually recovered from, normally it's an 18-month recovery for the severity that he had. He was hiking in 6 months. And so he was like, the surgeon says, I could put any of my colleagues against these two scans. I can't see the difference. It's amazing, what happened. And not everybody can get into the office and get therapies. And if people don't stay active, well, then they're not going to be exercising their heart, right? So I'm always looking at how can we help someone stay healthy, right? And again, to ward off depression, we need to exercise. And here's this person going, I want to exercise. I can't because my knee hurts me. Right. I'm trying to be active. I can't.
So, Dr. Trinh, what do you think of all this? Is this voodoo science, or is there science behind this? Walk us through red light therapy. I don't see anybody talking about this. I don't hear anybody. I don't go to my doctor and he says, let's try red light therapy.
Yeah, red light therapy, the medical terminology of using light for therapy is called photobiomodulation.
Okay.
So it is used at dermatology offices, plastic surgeon offices. It is used at different specialists with that. The reason you don't hear much about these other modalities is, first of all, the device itself needs to get through FDA clearance.
Right.
And until folks get certain devices through FDA clearance, they can't go out and blast that message. But at the same time, I know there are some devices that are FDA cleared. The majority are not, but they all kind of do the same. You're looking at the wavelength, the strength of the light, the watts, and all that. But they're not highly promoted because, quite frankly, insurance doesn't usually pay for a lot of these things. But that's not a surprise, right? There are a lot of modalities that insurance does not pay for that works. So red light therapy, there's a lot of science behind it. There's published articles behind it. So we've seen it. A lot of studies in other countries, actually. South America, Europe. Not done as much in the U.S. as far as studies because pharma doesn't own it yet. So,
okay.
But the studies are there. That you can go find studies on red light therapy, and they exist.
And is it mostly used for? I think where I have heard of it is what Penny's doing is weight loss. You're basically blowing up red fat cells and hoping they flush out of your system. Am I being overly simplistic here? But
it's for many different indications. Yeah.
And now you're using it for regenerative purposes. How does it help the body regenerate itself?
It stimulates mitochondria, which is the, the battery, right, of your cell. So it stimulates the power pack of your cell is what red light therapy does. At a certain wavelength, it enhances the stimulation of that. And by stimulating the mitochondria, stimulating the battery, it increases the efficiency of your cells in doing its job, what it normally should do. And a lot of that is cleaning up the trash in the body. A lot of that is stimulating, better metabolism. So yeah, there's a lot of studies that has been published regarding that.
And do different wavelengths or different strengths do different things, or just do it less effectively?
Different wavelengths do different things.
Okay. So, Penny, would you use one wavelength for weight loss and you do a different wavelength for self-healing, body repair, whatever you want to call this? Yeah.
We do with weight loss, we're actually using two because the 635 or 650 in the 600 range is more fat loss. And we use 800 to actually help repair the skin as well and helps produce collagen. So we're looking at the higher the number, the deeper penetrates into the body, to the dermis. And so with hair growth, same thing. We have there's actually about 5 lights in there. There's blue, there's red. We don't have green in there, but like green, there's different things like the green light. It helps with brown spots. The blue helps with acne, but they still do something quite different each one. And so having the different wavelengths, we're going into different strengths, even with like hair growth, like for instance, we have the hats, right, to do hair growth. But I can tell you that sometimes...
I got to stop you because you're telling me that red light will actually stimulate the growth of hair for bald people here. There's hope?
Yes, there actually is. One of our cars...
And when a pot aware.
Yeah, right. No.
I'll just wear that instead. The red light one. Yeah, actually, we sent one to one of our chiropractors in LA, and within 30 days, his hairdresser was like, "What are you doing?" Because he kept wanting to give him some serums. He goes, "But we see that your hair has gotten thicker already in 30 days. And so he's like, "Okay, I guess maybe this does work." So we started seeing it. But we also see, like, I have done therapies with the red light with just doing the body, not even the back of the head. And sometimes we're repairing internally. I had a client who her hair started growing in the back of her head without even red light therapy there because it was something internal that wasn't working properly. So it's pretty amazing. Like her hairdresser after about 3 or 4 treatments, like, what are you doing? You've got new hair growth. And she's like, huh, really? So that's why sometimes with red light therapy, it might not work for everyone because there might be something else internal that needs to be taken care of as well.
So here's what I don't understand. You have a thriving practice in Anaheim Hills where people pay good money, probably out of pocket because it's probably not covered by insurance, to come in to not only get the full body mass scans and the fat scans and all the other things that you're doing, and then some nutritional help, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you're giving them therapies like red light therapy. Aren't you cutting into your profit margin here? Aren't you keeping people from coming to see you here? Isn't this the opposite of what doctors are supposed to do here?
The thing is, if I have someone have to come in and do it, they're not going to do it as often, and they're really not going to help repair their area they need to repair or prevent injury. So having it at home, so no, I don't mind actually, like, not everybody can come into the office, right? I mean, if I had everybody who had injuries from pickleball, even just pickleball, I couldn't have everyone. I just couldn't fit them all. Okay. I'd have to have them in the hallway, with all these sitting down with them.
Right.
But with this now, we can reach more people and keep them active and actually injury free. If we start repairing, because if we don't start repairing the injury, they keep hurting themselves more and more and more. And that's what's happening. So I guess you could say I could just not create home devices, but I am an innovator and I love helping people as much as I can. So now we can actually help more people, even across the U.S. who cannot come into my office. And I mean, even alone in Newport Beach, there's a pickleball club. There's 4,800 members.
I know pickleball's exploding literally everywhere here.
Sport. It is. And people are walking around with all these braces, but all it's doing is just they're hoping it's going to help them play a little bit longer, right? Putting pressure in the area, but it's actually not repairing. And so if we can get them going, I can help more people that way.
And the repair is in the potentially skin area, the fascia. You're saying it can red spots, promote hair growth, or other things that.
Well, that wouldn't be for the injury. The thing is if let's say this is the knee pad, or let's say if you take one of the elbow pads, right? And now they're on their way there, they warm their arm, or afterwards, like, oh my gosh, I hurt my arm. They can now do this at home every day for 20 minutes, stay off of it and start repairing. And
the repair is in the muscle or in just the skin layer?
No, it pushes into the muscle. Okay. It actually can help the muscle, help with the tendon. It just depends on if someone has tennis elbow, we're working more with the tendon. We do have people that, they would come in and say, can you put a pad around because they were like, oh, I heard red light therapy helps my elbow. Can you put one on? I'm like, sure. And even right away, they start feeling relief. So
but would it be joint? Would it go down into your bones? Would it be joint health too? Or just I don't understand how far this goes or how far the applications are.
I don't have the chart with me here right now, but it does penetrate just definitely past your skin. Absolutely. Penetrate into the tissue, into the joint, and start repairing. I mean, it helps increase the energy in the cell, so it starts repairing itself is what it does.
So it stimulates cell growth, what you're basically saying.
Cell repair.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Are anybody else doing this? Are there lots of places? Am I just missing them here, or are you on the cutting edge here?
There is definitely like chiropractors that use red light therapy. They even have lasers that will go deeper in, but of course people can't have that at their house.
No.
But we can there are people that are doing, therapies with the pads. Even veterinarians use it for their pets, especially, in the, with horses, especially. They actually have lots of red light therapy for that. And one of my clients, her dog had jumped off this wall last year and hurt his hip. And she says, oh my gosh, she just can't get up and even go out to the bathroom. And the veterinarian can't see him till tomorrow. So I took one of our pads, okay, and actually the face dome, because that's what I had created then. And we put it over the hip area for about 20 minutes. And about 20 minutes later, the dog got up, went outside, went to the bathroom, and was able to come back and just sat down again. But before that, he actually had urinated even on the carpet because he couldn't move. And so the next day when she went to the veterinarian at the pet hospital, he was like, you did what? It goes, she has a whole, and then I was like, she has a whole clinic with red light therapy for humans? Like, because they use a lot.
Right. That's why I just think this is something that you're pioneering here. And is it safe? It seems like putting on my head, I could, if I open my eyes, do I go blind? Do I hurt my eyes if I do something here? Or
Yeah.
what's the disclaimer we got to put on these things here?
With the face dome, we do put goggles over it if we're doing the face. But there are studies that show red light therapy helps the eyes, but it's really bright. As far as we put on the head, you don't need to put goggles. But even if you look at it, it's not really going to hurt your eyes, but it is kind of bright. So we do put goggles on the eyes if we're doing the face dome. But if you looked at it, it's not going to hurt you whatsoever. It actually repairs every cell, even your eyes too. We've had people with the bed, they come in, and we had an office in one of the estates that they got their eyesight back. It's pretty amazing.
Got their eyesight back? That's a pretty startling claim there.
They were actually losing their eyesight from age 18, and every year, little by little, they had this. I'll have to check it up on a Red Light Wellness website. But they exactly what his disease was. But every year now he's in his 60s, and the doctors say get ready to really find out where everything's at your house because you're about to lose your eyesight. And someone had told him to go to one of the red light beds, and he started seeing color the first time in a few shapes. And then the second time, he actually started seeing more figures, and he literally has gotten his whole eyesight back, which is pretty amazing. I'll say with the red light bed, I mean, I have a client who came in who's in her 70s. She walked in with a cane. She walked to the red light bed with a cane, walked to our sauna with a cane, and then she walked another 50 feet to my office without her cane. And she said, "Oh my God, I'm shocked." I said, "I'm not, because I see it every day, the miraculous things that happen with red light therapy." I think that's why I've kind of dedicated my life on helping people with the red light, because I've seen so many amazing things that happen. I mean, I had a lady that has MS, and she has a rod down her back for years. She walked in like a scarecrow. She couldn't bend her knees barely. And she was walking with the assistance of her son. And she did one session of 12 minutes on her bed, and she came back the next time without the assistance of anyone. And I was like, "Wow. Are you walking by yourself?" And I called her, and it's been now over a month and a half. She's still walking without the assistance of anyone from one time on the bed. It's pretty amazing.
So what is the usual protocol if they come in and do on one of your bigger beds? This is like a sauna, where you, I don't know, what do you call it, where you go in and a tanning booth kind of, where they just wrap you around something.
And since I'm on my phone, we're going to walk over, and I'm going to turn on this bed.
There we go.
So you can see how powerful it is.
Get a tour.
It's made in the U.S. in Missouri, and it actually is one of the most powerful ones on the market here. And let's turn it on. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. So that's our bed. I'm going to turn it down here. But that is the power on the bed. And it's pretty amazing, pretty bright.
How long a session would you usually recommend? I guess it depends on what you're trying to do, but
we do about 12 minutes. If it's injury, we'll do about 15, but for weight loss, about 12 minutes. But it's literally that short, 12 to 15 minutes.
I've been inside that little dome.
And then how often would you recommend somebody do this? Is it weekly, daily? I guess, again, it depends on what you're trying to do, but is this a miracle cure? I hate to call anything a miracle cure. You're saying one session you can see results, or is this something you got to do for months and months and months, and then you start to notice?
If we're doing injury repair, definitely, depends on, we'll see how long it takes, but you can do it, every day if you wanted to. Actually, I do it almost every day just because I love how I feel after I do it. It gives me energy. But people come in typically about once or twice a week. If they're doing weight loss, my clients lose about 2 pounds each time they come in. So if I just hold remember I love fat all over my desk.
I remember your platter of fat here.
Yes. 1 pound of fat here, so they lose about 2 pounds. They have about 20 pounds of fat to lose. If they're coming in for, I have people who have fibromyalgia, or they have Sjogren's syndrome. I had a girl who had about 5 different autoimmunes, and within 3 times she started feeling amazing. And so it is something that I would definitely encourage people to continue once they feel better. Because again, even if, let's say for skin tightening, we're regenerating the skin, it helps that the body produce collagen. But then if we stop, it's going to keep generating for a little bit, but it's going to slow down again. Because it's not a miracle to say, here we go, now you're back to age 30 and you get to stay there, right? We have to keep doing something.
That was my next question. Is this an ongoing thing? Do you do it once and the stimulation continues, or do you have to keep stimulating it? Oh, I would think you'd have to keep stimulating it.
It really depends. If we're doing injury, right, once the injury is gone, the injury repair, then it's gone, the injury. For example, the lady who walked in with her symptoms of her son who has scoliosis with the rod in her back, she's still walking without assistance, which was pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, right.
So it depends. And that's why, like with this, like someone has an injury, they're not doing more than one. So we wrap the knee, or elbow, we have for ankles. That was important for me because before I created those, I had blown out my ankle. And so it was hard to wrap the pad around the ankle the right way. And so I had to do repairs as much as I could. If I had it for home, I could have just gone home and sat on the bed and put the light around the ankles. Like, it's easy now to do that with the ones we created.
And what's the future of this? Are you going to spin this off into a whole company? Am I going to see this at CVS someday? I'm going to buy your products at Walmart?
Possibly. So redlightprodevices.com is where we have it, where people can inquire for wholesale pricing, and it'll be sold through stores or distributors across the U.S.
And do you have to go through an FDA process? Does this require approval? Or
No, we don't, because the red light therapy, if it was a laser, we would have to, but there's already studies showing the efficacy of the lights. So that's what we're doing. We're not claiming, we're just showing you what the research has shown to do with those type of lights.
Mm-hmm. So give us the website. You did it so quickly here. Where, if I want to buy one or if I want to buy lots of them, same site?
Higher for, let's say, wholesale or like group rates, right? It's redlightprodevices.com, or if they want to go through FoskarisWellness.com, they can buy them through us as well.
All right, spell Foskaris for those that are spelling challenged here.
Foskaris wellness.com, and our center, of course, is Foskaris Wellness if somebody wanted to come in and do therapies, or they can buy them here in the office. We sell them here in the office as well.
Talk about one other thing that always struck me about when the earlier conversations, as they're all flooding back to me here. I remember you talking about, because you do a lot of weight loss, and it's not just melting the fat, it's actually adjusting their diet and the intake and amount of food they take. And the assumption is, I'm fat because I eat too much stuff. And you said there are cases where people eat more and lose more.
That's correct.
Where it isn't just abstinence, starving the body to shut off food. Talk about that a little bit, because I thought that was really, that stuck in my mind. It isn't just what you eat, it's how you eat and how often you eat, right?
It really is, so we do testing in the office. We, with the InBody 570, we do body composition analysis. So it breaks down how much muscle, water, and fat. And so since we know how much muscle the body has, now we know how many calories someone needs just to stay alive. Their basal metabolic rate, their BMR. So if we grab Mr. Bob here, like I showed you guys last time, he stayed in bed all day long and did absolutely nothing. Your BMR is what you need just to stay alive. So when you go below that, even if we open up fat cells, pretend this is the fat cell, right? We open it up, okay, and release fat. The body, if you eat too little, says, that's great that you know how to manipulate my cells open, but I'm going to hold on to it because all these organs in the body need nutrition. And so we need a balance. If we eat too many carbohydrates, then the pancreas has to increase insulin production and it gets tired. And then we go to diabetes, right? If we have too much fat, of not good fats, and the gallbladder is like, oh my God, I can't work anymore. So with people eating too little, and I see it because we also keep a notebook check. And so I compare notebook checks with the reports, and I'm like, you only eat 1,000 calories, you need 1,300. Everybody's different, depends on their muscle. And even if someone's the same weight and height, unless we see inside how much muscle they have, they're going to need different calories, okay? And just like Dr. Trinh talks about when he talks about intermittent fasting, they don't say starve yourself during the time. And so a lot of people eat 2 tiny little meals and say, oh, I'm intermittent fasting. They're actually starving themselves. And we see it. And the thing is the great thing is they're starving themselves. And then I'm like, look, just trust the process, right? Let me show you with a scan. So when you come in and you go, oh my God, I ate double what I was eating and I actually lost fat. And I can see it on my clothes. I have a lady who just lost, in 5 months, she's lost 30 pounds of fat. And she's just like, this is just amazing. Like, this is, again, I love showing my fat. This is 5 pounds. Oh. She lost 2 of those, right? And it's pretty amazing. She's been losing about 2.5 pounds each time that she comes in because she's been doing her exercise. There's a process. So when we melt fat, we liquefy it. Now we got to burn it off. So we need to exercise. But if you don't eat enough food, even if you exercise, you won't lose weight. you'll lose your muscle.
And that's what I think mystifies and upsets so many people. I mean, everybody I know, maybe even me included here, you start feeling overweight, your pants don't fit, and you say, I got to cut back. And I'm not saying there isn't value in cutting back. We as Americans eat way too much probably, and way too much junk and bad stuff and everything here, and we don't exercise enough. I get all that. But sometimes we're taking it too far, and people will literally starve themselves or literally go without. And you're saying that even though you're not putting fat in your body's struggling to hold on to every little bit of fat because it needs some fat to operate here. And even if you're burning off the fat or liquefying the fat, your body is struggling to hold on to it still. And why can't I lose weight? Well, it's not going anywhere here, because it's a balance between how much you eat and what you eat, and then how much you need to survive. And then anything beyond that is it's storing it up and adding it on for a rainy day here. But if you're not eating enough, it's not releasing anything that it's got.
No, and it has to be a balance of foods too, right? We're not saying eat your calories all in ice cream, right? Because again, that's all wet. That's all carbohydrates. It affects the pancreas, right? And it's still not going to feed the muscles. We need amino acids. And when I look at the scans, it also shows me how much muscle someone has, right? So a lot of times I can see, I'm like, look, you've been starving yourself. And when the muscle goes down in the arms and legs, well, guess what? Your heart is a muscle too as well, right? So that's a concern for me as well. So we're looking at having the protein, and it can be plant-based, mixing the vegetables and substituting with some vegan protein shakes. If you don't have any animal protein, that's totally fine. But really balancing, eating the food. You can't eat all of your 1,500 calories in one meal either. It doesn't work that way. It's really feeding the body throughout the day. And it can be intermittent fasting, eating those calories within those 8-hour span. However you want to do that, but you have to really have it within a period of time, not just 1 or 2 meals. It just doesn't work. And we see it happen when I do the scans. We see about 15, 20 people a day. And so across the board, we see it. And then the nice thing is that my clients will go, wow, I guess I didn't eat that much. I thought I did. And then we increase the food amount it depends. Like, we're like, look, you're low on protein, you're low on carbs, you're low on fats. What is it? But good carbohydrates, right? Once in a while, if you have that little bit of cheesecake with your protein and fats, that's okay. But you're not getting nutrition from it.
I've got to get my wife to listen to this, because she's been a faster, a small eater, a rare eater, because she's always concerned about her weight, and she's pretty small, and she's usually in pretty good shape. But as she gets older, it's harder to lose a little bit here, and maybe her energy or other thing, because she's just basically trying to not only eat good, but eat less all the time. That's just always less. Less seems better to everything. And you're saying at some point less is damaging.
I mean, you eat less, move more, but until someone has done your body composition, they have no business telling you what to eat, right? They don't know what you need. That's why for me, I don't do any consulting unless I have done the scan. So if I'm doing, like I had someone who was in New York, they wanted me to help them with their diet. I found them a facility that had a body scan device so I could help them. I won't do it without it because, again, I'm just guessing, and that's not right.
And that's what we're all doing. We're all just guessing. I had a very good friend of mine for years. His wife was in Weight Watchers and ran those programs, and they're sort of giving you all the food and the portions and everything else here. But even still, without knowing your body, how do I know how much to put in or how much to withhold?
You don't. You really don't. You know how much protein you need. For example, I talked about last time, there was a client that came in and, she had her doctor given her the new map, and it just guessed because her height, her weight, and her age, that she needed 1,200 calories. Right. And so she was following it to the T for 3 months, and she was working out, and we put her on the InBody, and she told us that she needed 1,450 calories. That was based off of her BMR. Right. And we increased her calories by 250 calories, balanced them out, and she finally started losing fat and weight, and every day that app told her she was overeating.
Yeah, right.
So because she had been here, she knew not to listen to it because she saw it was going down, and so it's pretty incredible. And the thing is, what, we hear eat less, move more, go do this, go do that, eat these chips, right? All these subliminal messages from the TV, the radio, everyone's like telling you what to do. And so your mind's so confused. So people come in and they struggle with what I'm saying, but I'm like, just trust the process, because next week when you come in, you're going to see the scan. They go, I'll be darned, I have more energy, because if you don't eat enough food during the day, when you are sleeping, all of these body parts need to be repaired, right?
Right.
And actually you'll have more fat loss if you're sleeping. So if you haven't fed your body enough nutrition, how is it supposed to repair? And people go, God, I keep waking up. I'm like, well, what are you eating? Well, you're not eating enough.
Right. I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I think that's the American problem is we want the magic pill. We want the one thing. We want the grapefruit diet. And if I only eat grapefruit, everything, I want the super high C energy something. I'm going to have a protein shake. There's something, I'm going to do some one thing, and magic is going to happen in my whole system here. What do you think of that, Dr. Trinh? Why are we not looking at it balanced? This is all part of an overall analysis of what your body needs. Why are we just one size fits all and one thing is all you need?
Because the only diet that really works is the chicken feet diet.
Well, yes, we know that. Chicken feet are
the
the
best.
miracle food of...
Right, the chicken feet diet.
No,
It's the best.
chicken feet are disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like doing a pedicure when you eat it.
Yeah.
Right.
This is my dog. Disgusting.
I'm going to go throw up.
Oh, yeah.
But why are we so...
Penny's absolutely correct, right? You need data. You need to find out where everyone's at
Right.
with their baseline measurements, because folks need to be treated as an individual rather than as some one-size-fit-all treatment.
Right.
That's...
So why do so few doctors... I've never had my body mass index or whatever you call the BMR, BMI, whatever this is. I go get a physical every year. They never say, hey, by the way, let's do your body mass index here. Let's see how many calories you need. Nobody has ever suggested to them at 67 here, not once has a doctor said, or you go to Kaiser and they have your annual checkups and they urge you to do all these things and get a colonoscopy and all these other things to check. Nobody ever has suggested checking my body mass.
Well, partially probably because they can't bill for it.
See, that's what I'm looking for. Right.
The other problem is probably because you only get 15 minutes. And if you stand on that device and it's measuring, you're taking away a few minutes already.
So what do you think, Penny? I mean, am I right? I don't hear anybody but you ever talking about body mass measurement.
I think for me it was, I'll just tell you, I'll share with you, I've been, I started working out when I was 16. I've been working out for almost 40 years now, so I'm 54 now.
Okay.
And I would see people and they would come in and be like, oh, this doesn't work. I'm like, no, you've lost weight. Like, no, the scale doesn't move, right? So for me, when I had my practice 6 years ago, it was so important to have a device that showed people. So for me, because I already had experienced, I struggled with myself. At one point, I did underwater hydrostatic, which is comparable with the in-body, but that's more, you can't get that everywhere. But it showed you how many calories, how much protein. And when I was struggling myself, that's what helped me. And I was like, that is the key, having knowledge, right? Anything that we do, as long as we have knowledge.
Right.
And I'll tell you, when I find out the scan, what it is, the BMR, I work with everybody individually and their culture, because I can have food completely done, right? And I say, here you go. And they eat the exact amount. And then they're done and they, wow, that's amazing. And they go, what do I do, right? And so I like to work with macronutrients, the carbs, proteins, and fats. And then I say, okay, you are Indian culture. What's your favorite foods? Let's modify what your plate looks like. Because if we don't work with each individual person, Greek, I'm Greek, right? So, the Greeks eat a lot of bread, a lot of pasta.
Right.
So Italian too. So, but we can still have those things in moderation, as Dr. Trinh talks about too, how our plate's configured with our protein, our carbs, and lots of vegetables. I mean, I tell people, have as much low glycemic vegetables you want. If you had 10 pounds of Brussels sprouts, you might not feel good because you're so full, but you're not going to gain weight from 10 pounds of Brussels sprouts, right? So when we look at that, sometimes people say, you got to eat off this small plate. And then someone's like, oh my God, I feel so deprived. Or they're going places and they're giving them boxed food. And there they are sitting at the table and they're, God, I wish I could be eating with my family. And that's what I hear a lot of people coming off of these companies doing the boxed food, and they go, you know what I like about your program is that I can go eat anywhere with anybody because you've taught me what I should be eating, the amounts, right? You're not limiting, and you didn't, and that's why I don't give, I tell people I can have a food service, make everything for you, and it'll be so easy, but you didn't learn anything. And my thing is, I want to teach you how to eat. It's like teaching someone how to fish, right?
Right.
They'll never starve. And so here I teach people to how to create their plate, whether they are at home or at a restaurant. So they know how to do this forever, and they can teach other people, because I'm on a mission to reverse obesity and diabetes in the world. And the more knowledge we have, and those numbers can decrease. When you don't give people knowledge, they go from diet to diet. Again, when they lose water and muscle, and then they didn't lose fat, it goes right back again.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that a million times. I have a friend who has varied her weight up and down through the years. Kind of like, maybe this is a harsh thing, but sort of like Oprah Winfrey. We've watched her when she's big Oprah and when she's smaller Oprah. But there isn't sort of a stable period. It's you're in transition going up or you're in transition going down. And when you get down, for many people, they just go right back to it. You say, well, it must be you're just eating too much. No, they're probably eating, and they say, I'm not eating anything. Why am I gaining weight again here?
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, the latest craze is, the injectables, the semaglutides, the Ozempic, the Manjaro. And honestly, I decided to get involved with a doctor who does our telehealth, because everybody's going everywhere and nobody's given a nutrition consulting. Again, they're starving themselves, they're losing water, and then they go, oh my God, I got off this inject, I got to go back on because I'm afraid I'm going to gain, I just gained weight again. And so I'm like, okay, let's have, Dr. J do the telehealth. Let me have you come in here and let me do your nutrition. Here's your carbs, proteins, and fats, and use that as a bridge for your cravings if you need to, the injectables. But let's give you an understanding of what you need to do so you can finally, for the first time in your life, take control of your life and be able to do this forever and sustain it, and not have to spend money on a diet product again.
Right.
And that's really what I want to do.
Sustainability and a holistic look at this. And I'm hearing three things. Get some data about your body and what your body needs. 2, then learn how to control and what you eat and how you eat and when you eat. Don't just periodically starve yourself here. And then combine that with a holistic, get some exercise, help if you got an injury, help stimulate that. It's a holistic view. It's not one thing. There isn't one pill, one thing that's all I want is the injectable. There, I lost my cravings and now life is good and I never have to worry about pay attention to anything else. We're so consumed with the simple one-step answers. Years ago, the grapefruit diet or something. Everybody's eating grapefruit like crazy. Whatever it is, it's part of a holistic thing that each body needs something different, a different amount, a different type. And yes, we got to modify what we eat and get rid of the junk and the sugar and all the things that Dr. Trinh talks about to have a healthy brain and a healthy diet. Yes, we should do more of the Mediterranean diet. Yes, we should exercise more. But it isn't one thing and one thing alone. Am I hitting that hard enough here? It's a holistic approach. And I don't think most of us can get there without a coach, somebody like you, to lay out a plan.
Thank you. And you haven't even touched about exercise, right? I mean, it is all together, right? First of all, we don't feel good, we can't exercise, we're stressed. So we need to get our stress levels down because cortisol goes up and we gain weight. If we don't eat enough, we can't sleep. If we don't exercise our heart, that's really important, right? At least 25 minutes a day, 5 days a week, to exercise our heart and put stress on it, right? You're walking, you're out of breath a bit, because if you don't put stress on your heart when you're in a stressful situation, you have not already conditioned your heart to handle things, right? Yeah. So it's a whole all-around approach together with the mind. We even have the AccuView in here, right? To see the brain scans too, right? To see how your memory is so we can prevent things. And so then we can send you to the Healthy Brain Clinic, right, with Dr. Trinh after the testing. And so we are looking at internal scans. We're looking at the brain now with memorization and memory, and then also activity. And then we have the relaxation room, right? So we're combining the relaxation as well to help you overall health. And that's what we're doing here, is really to give you that. And so we're going to this is going to be the longevity lab, to be honest with you, because
I think you're turning it into more than just a one-stop shop. I come to get nutrition. I come to get red light therapy. You're really treating everybody and coming up with a plan to help them live longer, live better, and working with others. Maybe they need other specialists. I see you kind of as the coach, the life coach here.
A life coach as well, and a health coach and nutritionist, so all together. So I've combined everything together.
Yeah.
But I think having everything together, and then again working with Dr. Trinh, working with different doctors to send out, right? So we can work together to really give people the health benefits they need so they can have the longevity that they want and deserve to have.
Okay, Coach, where do we go sign up for your clinic here? How do we find you again here?
So go to foskariswellness.com, Foskaris wellness.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, as well, even YouTube. We have some videos there as well. But we do have now the longevity lab in here, which doing the testing, so you have all of your numbers, so you can go on and have the plan to really increase longevity of your life in the future.
Wow. Dr. Trinh, take us out. Seems like the future is being formed now, and it's more holistic. It's mind, body, and it's built on data, and it's built on science, and it's built on understanding your body and really what
Absolutely.
comes in.
Yeah, this is a great segment we had today, and very excited with the direction that Penny's going. And absolutely, it's all about longevity, and it's all about personalized medicine, precision medicine using data. And so it's awesome. So I've been wearing the little red light hat.
Yeah, I can see something growing right there. I see it right there.
Yeah, so,
there it is. Look at that.
So maybe next week I'll have a bush full of hair.
Yeah,
maybe.
a
We'll see how
mohawk.
it goes.
Maybe
We'll see how it goes,
Yeah.
Paul. If it works for me, I'll send you a hat too.
Okay, good. I want to get
So-
on here. I'll wear a different hat on the show. We'll all wear hats on the show here.
There you go.
All
right.
right, guys.
Thank you.
So much. Thanks, Penny. We'll see you again soon.
Sounds good. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
See ya.
Well, there you have it. One more reason. If that isn't fascinating, if that doesn't raise the hair on the back of your neck and say, hey, there's help out there. There's some innovative stuff. But maybe I need to put it all together into a plan, not just do it one helter-skelter, one random thing after another here. That's what we talk about each and every week here on Health Talks with Dr. Trinh, streaming live from our studio here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.